Howdy y'all, Tex here again. I told y'all a couple of drunk driving stories in my time on the ambulance. I told y'all the funny one where the dude rolled his truck over and said, "Get me out of here before the cops come." And I believe I don't remember. I'll have to go back probably and look through the videos, but I think I did a deal of EMS stories. And I think I told y'all about a cat that crashed into some cars down there and that was drunk, that winded up getting tased by the police and getting a big old needle put in him, and we took him to the hospital. Now, if I didn't tell y'all that one, I will go back and tell you that one. But the drunk driving story I'm going to tell you today falls into the gory category, and I'm also going to tell you the dark humor that aroused from it, just like I did the last one with the guy that was a 3-week decom. So here's the thing. I was sitting at home, was not on this night, but I was running as an IRP unit, which was immediate response personnel. So the tones dropped. Mind you, I was eating a hamburger at the time, a cheeseburger, something like that. Tones dropped and toned out for a rollover vehicle accident, and it was up on a road which happened to be a road that was a county line division, so to speak. They didn't know whether it was in our county or whether it was in the other county. So I responded, was first on scene, and then, you know, I'd stay there and talk to a state trooper and the local cops about all this. But I was first on scene, and a vehicle with some drunk guys in it, I was trying to get them to stay and kind of give me a statement, and that's how I was able to ascertain that these guy had been drinking at a bar that rolled his truck over. Now, those guys left. I tried to stall them and keep them on the scene, but they wouldn't do it. They left. There was nothing I could do about that. So they said, "Yeah, he's up there, and you don't need to, you know, he's dead." And I said, "Okay. Well, here's a story about this guy. From what I was able to ascertain, this dude dipped snuff. He was a guy that didn't roll the window down to spit his tobacco. He'd just open the door and lean out. And he'd been drinking down there. And the story I get is basically he did this, and this is a gravel road he's on. He leaned too far out, and he grabbed the steering wheel, and it wound up basically jerking the truck, because that's how he pulled himself back into the truck. So of course the steering wheel turned. He's going up a gravel road. Truck flips over. He's ejected from the truck because the door was still open. Supposedly the truck basically rolled over on top of this guy's head. That was the conclusion I came to. Now, the paramedic that was also responding was a guy I worked with that was also an IRP unit that could actually pronounce this guy. He came up, and he has a different idea on the story. He thinks them drunk guys kind of run up on this, and they ran over him. Because the thing is that whether it was them running over him or his truck flipping on top of him, it popped his head like a pimple. I followed a trail of brain matter, pieces of brain, 150 feet basically, to the body. It's either 100, it may have been 50, somewhere between 50 and 150. I really do not remember. It was a long time ago, but I followed a trail of brain matter to his body. His brain was not in his head. The top of his head was open. And then our crew gets there. The responding ambulance crew gets there. And, you know, we had slowed him down, said, "Hey, look, he's DOA. There's no sense in getting in a hurry." They get there, and I'm going to tell y'all something. When you have this in the middle of the night, we're talking midnight now, and it's dark, and completely pitch black. There's no damn street lights around. We're doing everything by flashlight. And it was one of the weirdest deals you'll ever see. It was spooky, but it was like intriguing as hell at the same time. We somehow were looking around the scene, and the flashlight like went up the top of this dude's head, and his eyeballs started glowing. It was like what you do if you put a candle inside of your pumpkin and you make a jack-o'-lantern. That's what this dude's head looked like. Damnedest thing he ever seen. You know, it was eerie, but it was kind of cool, you know. So, the next morning I was on duty. So, I went from there and went to another call, actually. We had a landing zone set up. I answered as fire department after I cleared scene there. I went with my fire department to set up the landing zone. That same paramedic was actually down there on scene doing the EMS, bringing it to the landing zone. And then later that night, actually, was when I responded to right after the landing zone. I went home, and keep in mind, I'd just seen this dude's brains all over the road. Went home, finished eating my cheeseburgers, what it did. Didn't affect me. And then, not very long after that, the tones went out again for the guy that crashed. You know, this is all the same night. I went from the drunk guy that got his head split open to an overdose that got flown by a helicopter to another drunk guy, and that was the guy that crashed into the cars down there. And basically, I'll tell you the story just because I don't remember whether I told it or not, so I'm just going to make this a longer video. But that story was real simple. Right after that, I mean, this dude crashed into the cars down there. Some were occupied, most were just parked. And then he took a swing at our medic, which is a wrong thing to do because she was a medic that everybody liked, just the nicest gal in the world. And not only did he take a swing at the medic, the stupid ass did it right in front of a state cop that proceeded to tase his ass. So me and another medic, which was one of the owner's family, showed up down there, took the drunk guy to the hospital. And I'm pretty sure that particular medic gave that guy the biggest needle we had on the fucking truck. Because it's bad enough that you're drunk and you do something stupid. If you get in a car crash when you're drunk and you wind up on an ambulance, you will get the biggest needle that the fucking ambulance has, probably. Or you're going to get a bigger one than what's needed, because we're just like, well, we want to make sure we get as much fluid in him as we can to try to flush out all the alcohol, you know, try to sober him up some type deal. Make sure it all gets through there. So you will get a big needle, plain and simple. We don't like drunk drivers. So anyway, after we took that dude to the hospital, matter of fact, I don't remember ever telling y'all that story now that I come think of it, because I never told y'all the aftermath of it. When we got up to the hospital, the state trooper was up there, and my medic tried screwing with that state trooper because he said, I forget what he did. He tried screwing with him on scene, saying some kind of joke, saying that he needed, he was asking for the cartridge or something. He needed to see the spent cartridge or something about the taser. And he caught the trooper off guard. So we're coming out of there, and the trooper says, did y'all get them taser barbs out of that guy? Because we need those for evidence. They were just screwing around. It was funny. But back to going in the next morning, working a 24-hour shift. That was the day I went in there, and there's a guy working there, and that was on that call that night. Turns out they sat there till like 4 o'clock in the morning waiting for the coroner to come out. Even though it wasn't our area, they just sat on it and let the other ambulance company go back, and we're dealing with state trooper, but not the coroner, but the funeral home to come out there, pick the body up. Anyhow, so he was only on like 4 hours sleep. I got there at 8 a.m. I'm like, man, go home, wake up, whatever. So if you don't come home, I'm gonna go in there and spoon with you. And that's actually what I did. I hopped on the bed with him and put my arm over him, screwing with him. And he's like, he said, we were sitting out there till 4 in the morning waiting on the funeral home to come over. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, well, that sucks. He's like, well, that guy wouldn't have fucking lost his mind all over the road like that. And we just started laughing. That's the dark humor that you have to do these jobs. Anyway, this is probably the longest video ever made, because this is about to 9 minutes, 45 seconds. We're almost 10 minutes here in them couple of stories. And I think I've got I might have got another gory one that I'll tell. I don't remember. I don't think I told it. If I did, I kind of dumbed it down. So not dumbed it down, but basically took out a lot of details and was real vague about it. So I got another story I'll tell. But anyway, if you made it this far, appreciate it. Y'all have a good